everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about some new-ish Shonen Jump manga that have come out semi-recently. They're new to me anyway, and I wanted to try some of them out because recently I've kind of been missing the weekly manga reading experience. I read One Piece week to week, but it's been a long time since I followed a couple series weekly like I used to a couple years ago. So I wanted to try some newer Shonen Jump manga to see if there's anything that I like enough to follow weekly. So the first manga I read was Sakamoto Days. I caught up with the entire thing, so I'm caught up with this one currently. I think I'm actually one chapter behind since I read it a couple weeks ago and I haven't read like one chapter. But anyway, this one also was recently released in English. There are 2 volumes out now, I believe. And this one follows this guy on the front. He is a former assassin who retired because he met his wife and had a kid and he doesn't want to be an assassin anymore, but he kind of gets pulled back into the career because of some reasons I'm not going to share with you. Anyway, I was not initially very impressed with this manga. I didn't really like the art very much. I found it very simple. The comedy wasn't anything for me really. The premise was okay, but then once I got to about volume 3, then I started to enjoy it, and now I'm really liking what's going on in the most recent chapters. This one is definitely a slow burner. Like I said, the initial part I was not very impressed, but the more it goes on, the more I enjoy it. That same thing can be said for the art. I did not really like the art to begin with. It is very simple, but once they start introducing like big villains, the art really shines when it comes to villain characters. The sketchy style can make evil characters look very dark, and I really like that. And also the action scenes are really nice looking. They're very easy to read, which is always important in a manga, especially an action manga like this. The action being easy to follow is great. I also really liked all the characters. They're not my all-time favorites now or anything, but they're all enjoyable. I like seeing the good characters, the evil characters, side characters in between, everything like that. I do also like that we have an older protagonist, or older when compared to some other shonen manga. The main character here, even though he looks really old, is actually only 27 years old, but that's still older than a typical Shonen Jump manga protagonist. So I decided I'm going to rate these manga on 3 criteria. First is the art. This one gets a 3 out of 5 for me for art because I'm not impressed with it the entire way through, but I do really like I said, the villain parts and the action parts. Those are good, which is important, and I feel like that rating could go up higher. Plot from me gets a 4 out of 5. I don't want to spoil anything that happens after the initial premise that I told you about, but it gets pretty good. If you like typical Shonen Jump action manga, you'll probably like this one, at least the later volumes. And then characters also get 4 out of 5 from me. So overall, this manga is really enjoyable, especially now where I'm at, and I will do my best to keep following this one weekly. The next manga I read for this video was this one. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Dan or Dan. I think it might be Dan, maybe. This one, I only read 2 volumes of it because while the art is absolutely amazing, this manga is like a yokai manga, so there are ghosts and evil things and stuff like that. They are drawn beautifully, and by beautifully I mean disgustingly like grotesque and stuff, but it looks really awesome. So the art is absolutely amazing. I love the art. However, the actual plot is not to my interest. I could see why some people really like it. It's just not that interesting to me. The yokai thing isn't really my thing. I don't know why, because I like horror manga, but just like the yokai monster of the week thing is not that interesting to me. This one isn't really monster of the week, but it kind of is just from what I've read anyway. I'm sure it might have some other plot eventually, but I haven't gotten that far. And it might not be fair for me to be judging this manga at 2 volumes, especially since I just talked about Sakamoto Days, where I had to read 3 volumes for me to really enjoy it. And at this point, I've only read 2 volumes of Dan, and it's okay. But there are some things about Dan that I actively dislike, one of which is the comedy. I don't like this type of comedy. It's very vulgar, whatever, which can be done well. Chainsaw Man does some vulgar humor, which I enjoy, but this one, it's not to my taste. I don't really like it. And like I said, the monster of the week yokai thing is not that interesting to me, even though the art makes all the monsters look really cool. I did only read 2 volumes though, and I might revisit this manga in the future to see if there's anything about it that I will enjoy. I feel like once more characters are introduced, like side characters or other parts of the main cast, I might enjoy it more. Right now, there were only 2 really main characters and a side character, and the 2 main characters, they're okay. I just don't really, they're not my favorites. Anyway, if I had to rate what I've read from this one, I would give the art a 5 out of 5 very easily. It's very good. The plot is 3 out of 5 just from what I've read so far. Like I said, it could get really crazy and really good, but from what I've read, it's sitting at a 3 out of 5. And characters are also 3 out of 5. Again, I feel like I'm not really giving this manga a fair chance yet just because I didn't read as much of it as I could have. I don't know, there's some manga where I can read one volume and I know instantly that I'm not going to like it. And there are some manga where I need to give it a couple volumes and then I will like it a lot more, like Sakamoto Days. This one, I feel like I could like it, but I'm not sure yet, so I'm going slowly. I might revisit this one in the future, though. And then the last manga I wanted to talk about in this video is another one that has been semi-recently released in English, and that's Kaiju No. 8. So this follows this guy named Kafka. We'll talk about his name in a second. He is a member of, like, the Kaiju cleanup team. And so whenever there's a kaiju attack on the city that he lives in, then he goes and is a member of the team that cleans it up, basically. And then things happen and he is suddenly able to transform into a kaiju, and this gets him involved in the defense force, which he wanted to be involved in since he was a kid, but he didn't really have the capabilities, and now he does. And the reason his name is Kafka is obviously because he goes under a metamorphosis, like the Metamorphosis, but instead of spontaneously turning into a bug, he turns into a kaiju. So this one I read the fastest out of all of them. I caught up very, very quickly. It is a very action-heavy manga, so there's not a lot of dialogue. There is some, obviously. There's not a lot of it, though, so you can read through it very, very quickly. And this is another one. I really enjoyed what I read of this. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think the plot is anything that unique, but I did like the characters a lot. I especially like how a lot of the characters are female characters, especially the strong characters. Lots of the main strong characters are female characters, which I appreciated because you don't see that a lot. This manga also has some pretty good world building, but I would like to see even more of the world building that could take place here. I feel like there's a lot of different elements we could explore when it comes to that. And when it comes to the art, it is very good. However, it does feel, I'm not sure if it's digital or not, but it does feel like it's very digital. Like there's no really pen marks at all. You can see every single line, so it feels very digital to me, which is not by any means a bad thing. It's just something to consider. Some people might not like it. Some people might really like that style of art. I'm kind of indifferent, but I did notice it. Anyway, for this one, I gave the art a score of 4 out of 5. The plot, 3.5 out of 5, just because it's not the most unique, but I feel like it does have a lot of potential to get very good. It is good from where I've read, but I feel like it has the potential to get very, very good. And the characters are 4 out of 5. This one has a very large cast of characters, which I always appreciate. I'm always going to like that more than something that has a smaller cast of characters. So yeah, those were the 3 Shonen Jump manga I wanted to talk about in this video. Yes, I know that the second 2 I talked about are Shonen Jump Plus. It doesn't matter to me. They're all the same thing. Anyway, if you've read any of these manga, let me know your thoughts on them in the comments down below. Or if you read any manga weekly, let me know what those are. I'd be curious to know. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!